Alright, CNT120 Network Design Lab. We're now working on part 2, our cost sheet or our spreadsheet. This we should be doing along with like chapter 5, that timeline of our semester. So the first podcast did a quick overview of the whole design lab. The second podcast did our network diagram. Now the third podcast we're going to do our cost sheet or our equipment list, if you will. So scrolling down through the lab, here is our background of things that we're going to refer to, including number of ports of things. That's how we're going to get quantities of things. We have already done the network diagram. At least we have it all roughed out. We're now going to pick out our equipment right here with our cost sheet, our equipment list. And we'll do that creating a simple spreadsheet. So to do that, I'm actually going to go back to my Google Drive. You're going to go to here, log in My Hack, click your Google Apps, Google Drive, okay. Once I'm there, I've gone to my folder where I have my my network design lab files, and I have a sample that I've created previously. This is what we're aiming for. We're aiming for a list of equipment we need, totaling it all up for our customer with all the details. That's what we're aiming for. So I'm going to create a new one of those. I'll go New, and I'm going to go Google Sheet. Once I have that open, I'm going to put a couple headings in here of things I want to gather. So first thing I'll have is I'm just going to put a general title. I'll do like item just real quickly. And I know I need a router for this place, for this map. I know I need the firewall. I know I need the switch. And I know I need the access point, and I need IP phone. I know I need at least those things. And if you remember in reading through the details, I'm not worried about buying the PCs or printers. Our focus is just on the network gear for this facility. In real life, you might be doing the printers. In real life, you might be doing the computers and some other gear. Just for our sake in this class, for this lab, we're just focusing on the network gear. So there's my quick list. But I'm going to put in an item, detailed description or whatever you want to call it. Description, there we go. And there will be the details, the detailed description of what we're picking out. We next want to put a model number. We always want the model number in case we need to shop around for best price. In real life, you would do that. Here, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it simple. We want to put in the unit cost. That would be the cost for one of them. We will put in the quantity if we need to buy more than one. And then over here, a total cost. There we go. And then last but not least, we want to put in here source. Where are we getting this? We might even paste the URL in there in case we need to look at that at a later time. Okay, so now I have the basic shell in here. Let's go start picking out equipment, and once we get one or two pieces in here, we can get our formulas in place for this. And just for my sanity, I'm going to highlight this top line, do it bold, and get it centered so we can see our headings a little bit better. And I'll even do the same thing over here. I'll make these bold as well, just so things stand out. So one of the first things I need, there we go, make him a little wider. There we go. One of the first things I need, if I go back to let's pull up our network map. Here's our network map. One of the first things we need is our router. This is kind of the central piece of equipment in our network. And if we select it well, it's going to be able to do a lot of functions for us, including connecting to the internet with NAT, doing DHCP for addressing for our devices in our network, and be able to process our phone calls, voice over IP phone calls for our devices in the network if we select it carefully. So we want to pick up a pretty robust router to do all this. And to do that, well, let's go to our lab. I'm going to scroll down towards the bottom, last couple pages, and here is how I pick out my switches. Here's how I pick my router and so forth. So I'm going to I'm just going to load the Cisco page up here. No, it's only kind of like half showing on the screen for you there, but I'm just going to go to the Cisco homepage. And the directions in the lab walk you through how to do this, but I'm going to walk you through right now. I'm going to go to the products area. Under networking, there is routers. So I'm going to pick the routers. And this is a branch of a company. So I am actually going to pick a branch router. So here's a whole bunch of different routers that they have for us. I'm actually going to pick a branch. I'll pick a branch router and see what they give me for some options. And if in doubt, sometimes you go, middle of the road, high end, that sort of thing. Well, this is kind of like high end. Here's low end. We're going to go with this guy right here, around the 4000 series. These are similar to what we have in our lab room. They have a lot of good functionality. So it's a good starting point, if you will. So here I have a page with like, okay, here's some sales ad, all that kind of good stuff. Yay. But here's my basic model numbers: 4221, 4331, 4431, 4461. Well, if in doubt, sometimes I start in the middle and see where we go. So if I take a look at these guys, we have some gigabit ports. We have 500 megabit encrypted throughput. That's pretty good. So I might try one of these two, not the low end, not the high, maybe one of these two to get me going and see what we're able to find. And I could always go lower or higher depending on what it's able to give me. So I'm actually going to search for the 4331 model number. So I'm going to go to a place like, well, the directions here tell you, you can get pricing at places like CDW or GovConnection. I'm not picking on them because I get free t-shirts. I'm picking on them because they usually have the gear. Okay, I can at least get a real honest to goodness price. So I'll go to CDW here and I'll search for, I'll say Cisco 4331 router. I'll keep it nice and simple and see what we get. And I see right off the bat here is a rack mountable job, but I'm going to scroll a little bit further. Application experience bundle, voice security bundle. Oh, I have a couple different unified communications bundle. Okay, I have a couple different options because this is like buying a car on a lot. They come with different features. The operating system on these are different. Here's a basic operating system. Here's one that has some more details to it or more capability to it. Here's one that has more capability to it. So if I were to pick this guy right here, voice security bundle, this would handle my voice processing as well as some basic firewall functions for us. Excellent. So this would probably be a good starting point for a router for our plan. So I'll highlight this guy and I'll steal that little description right there. I'm going to put that right here in my spreadsheet. And if need be, I can do the wrap. I can do the wrap text option right here so it wraps it around. I'll grab the model number. So I'll go to this guy and I'm going to grab this right here. This is the actual model number. So now I have a legit model number that I can use to shop around if I need to. I might want to make him a little bit wider. The unit cost in this guy was what? Where is he? 5146, 5165. We'll call it 5165. 5165. All right. I need to make this dollars, so I'm going to come over here and make it currency. We only need one of these. And over here, I need a formula that's going to calculate this for me. So I'm going to say equals this cell, asterisk for multiply, times this cell. That way, if either one of these changes, it's calculating this for me. So if for some reason I were to buy 2, that's totaling that for me. Or if the price of this changes, that's totaling that for me. And now for the source out here, I will grab my URL. So I could always revisit this if I need to. And now I have the first piece of equipment for my plan. So I probably want to come up here and give this a good label now. I'll call this 120 network design, and I might call this cost sheet. And now I have the beginning of my cost sheet done. Well, while we're at it, I'm going to jump down to the switch line, and let's pick out a switch real quick too while we're here. So I'm going to scroll up here to this one, and let's do our switch model number. So we will go through, and again, we are looking at this part of our plan. We have the router. Now we want the switch. So to do that, I'll go back to the Cisco homepage. I'll go to Products, Networking, Switches. There's switches. And now we want to pick out a switch that is, I'm going to scroll down here a little bit, access layer switch. If you remember at the beginning of our lab, there was core distribution access. Well, the switches we're looking for are the access layer switches. So I'm going to click on the access layer switches here, scroll down a little bit. And again, we have high end in this case over here to low end down here. Well, I'm going to pick along about here. These have These have been a workhorse for a long time, this 2960 switch. It gets a lot done, a lot of features, a lot of capability, and just works. So it's almost bottom of the line, if you will, but it's a workhorse. It's been here a long time. So once I've picked that, there's all kinds of options. I want to see the models. What models do you have? So I'm going to do compare models. And once I have that, here is all the model numbers. Here's all the model numbers on the left, all the features on the right, and so forth. Okay, well that's a lot. So let's make some sense of it. The first thing I see is all of these here say LAN base, and these say IP light. Well, these are essentially layer 3 switches. These are essentially layer 2 switches. So the first thing is I can pick this right here as my layer 2 switch. Well, I also want, if I take a look here at my map, we want to make sure that this switch has enough ports. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We need about 14 ports. Well, we could get by with a 24 port switch. We could do that. So we could stick with 24 port switch here. That would be okay. But if we want to think ahead, we could go 48 port and give them some room to grow. And that might be one of our selling features. The other thing we need to think about is we are going to plug things like access points and phones into this switch. So this switch should be using or should be capable of power over Ethernet. That way it can power the phone or power the access point no matter where it's located. So the second thing we need is we need to make sure we are doing power over Ethernet. Now in real life, you would pay attention to this wattage number. Each thing you plug in uses a certain number of watts. So let's just say it uses 10 watts for just a simple calculation. If I have something using 10 watts, I could plug in 37 of them before it runs out of power. So in real life, I would need to pay attention to how much wattage my phones and my access points are using to make sure I have enough. Well, again, what I could do is I could just err on the high side to make sure we have plenty. Instead of picking the 370, I could pick the 740 with the 48 ports, so I know I have extra ports and extra wattage for anything they'd want to do, which again would be another selling point. So I'm actually going to pick this relatively high-end one right here, but I could pick this one right here if I wanted to keep the price down. Okay, so but I'm going to try to pick the high-end and see if I can get a price for this guy. If not, I can always drop down. And I'm going to put this in my spreadsheet right here. Here's my switch. Here's my model number. And I'm going to grab, this was my Cisco Catalyst 2960. I'll put that in there. I can get the details in a minute. But this is the model number I want. So I'm going to go to a place like, again, like CDW, see what I can find. See if they have that for me. Looks like they may not. So let me go down just one model. Let's try this guy right here. See if they have the less wattage version. See if that one's here. It looks like that one is. So at least I have that one that I know I have enough. It'll work for them, but that might be something I indicate as an improvement for them. So here we go, 2960 48 port gigabit Ethernet switch. So it's meeting all the requirements they want. Again, I think I'll do a little text wrap on this guy. Boo! There's my model number. Here's my price. What do we got for a price? $41.47. We'll round it up. $41.47. We only need one of these. I need to make him dollars and cents. And I'm going to do a trick over here. This is the formula here. I want the same formula here, if you will. I'm going to click and drag this corner down, and that'll do the formula for all of these as well. Woohoo! Okay, so there is my switch, and again, I'll grab my URL out here, paste that in. The only thing left to do, there's two things left to do. I'll put a sum total down here, so I'll grab this little guy and do a sum, and I will highlight all of those. That'll total all those for me as I build. And when I'm done, I'm going to do a file, and I can do a download as Excel or PDF, one of the two. And then I'll have that file for submission to D2L. I'll do PDF for now. I'll just do export, and then I have that file for submission to D2L at the end of the semester. So there's your spreadsheet.